What does 52 ask us to do?
Determine the compound interest earned on $220 invested at
So if we encounter a problem that we don't know how to do, because compound interest, sorry, I should have paused you after that instead of interrupting. What the heck is compound interest? So if we encounter something that we don't know how to do, we could either consult Google or the original Google paper notes that you've been given. And if I look at the front of this page of notes, oh, hey, look. Simple interest, compound interest. Everything you need to know is here in your notes. This is one of those situations where you're pretty much always going to use the formula and a calculator because it's too complicated to do on our own, like in our head. So if we go to do 52, and I'm going to fold my paper to make life easier. $220 invested. In this problem, what do we think that is going to be? The principal, because it's the amount we start with, right? The principal investment is what we start with. And it's actually spelled the same as like Mr. Flynn, the principal. Principal L-E is just a different spelling used for different stuff. There are two different ways to spell principal. They mean two different things. 3.25%. Now this is where it gets a little tricky. That is not your rate, but it sort of is. 3.25 is your percent, but what does 3.25% mean? What's percent mean? Out of 100. So your rate will actually be 0.0325 because percent tells you divide by 100. So guys, rate is the decimal form of percent. You might want to make that note in your math notes that rate is decimal form of percent. You cannot just straight up use the percent value. You gotta convert to the decimal form. And then 6 years. Sometimes we use N. Sometimes we use T for time, depending on how you look up the formula. So notice up here in simple interest, we do T for time. But down here, now we say N for number of periods. Because, guys, that could happen weekly. That could happen daily. It might not happen until yearly. And what does it mean if we're compounding annually? It's once a year, right? So how many times will it happen? Well, here, yeah, N will just be 6. Now, one of the dumbest words in the entire English language. Biannual.
Every 2 years. Wait, no, but that's conflicting. Wait, because it'd be once a year, twice. Twice
You
once
guys
a
don't
year.
feel like Maddie is the thought in your head? Like when your head starts thinking, Maddie starts talking. Like there's not even any time to let the brain think. It's like the hamster starts running on the wheel and immediately like full dead sprint. Like I don't know. Yeah, what does biannually mean? Is that twice a year or every 2 years? In that case, what does bi-weekly mean? And this is where you can trick your parents. If you ask your parents to give you a bi-weekly allowance and they think you're talking about every 2 weeks, but you're actually talking about twice a week, literally bi-weekly would mean either of those. The prefix bi is stupid when it comes to dates. Because is it every 2 or is it 2 for every? So guys, that's where you got to be careful with how many periods happen. If somebody offers you something that is biannual, bi-weekly, like you got to ask, is it 2 times a year or only once every 2 years? Owen? Okay, I'm scared to know what a Mr. Hudson joke is. But...
Do you mean 2? Sure, what?
I'm confused.
Like 2 O's?
What?
2?
Oh, like 2. Okay, okay. I don't even know if my jokes were that. That was a reach, man. That was a large reach. Well, thank you. I don't know that they are, but. All right, so compound interest. Now, simple interest is just simpler because it doesn't involve any exponent. And guys, this is really the only reason that interest. Hey, why are people just like starting talking while I'm already talking? This is really the only reason that this is involved in this chapter is that formula involves a power. So now what I thought we could do, because also with our choir people being gone, with these exponent laws, you pretty much have what you need to tackle all of this sort of work. So I would like you to first start with your partner and try to agree on filling in all of these, like our examples from class. And then once we're done with that, you can just move into your homework. And we can just practice doing this stuff. Now hold up. Hey, hold up. I want to remind you about Schoology, which I swear I had open. Yeah, haha. Schoology. Our class. Hey, I had a couple parents emailing me about like, hey, how can my kid do work if they're absent? Guys, Schoology has everything. And if it doesn't, text me, because it means I've forgotten to turn it on. If you go to Schoology right now, you will not be able to see this. This is, like, there, but it's not published for you. Sometimes I put stuff up and I don't publish it because I don't want you seeing it yet because we're not there yet. So, like, I'll start building the Chapter 9 folder before I ever open it up to you. But if you come into your Chapter 8 Exponents folder, okay, I get it. The intro's silly. Stick with me. Alright, so a little plug for Math Antics that I'm sure he'll be okay. Made it in my video. So, obviously, the powers of 10 that we watched yesterday, I posted those too. But guys, check this out if you need help. He goes through, like, all of the exponent laws and, like, explains them, like, nested exponents. But what I want us to do is just try to dive into this paper because you've got your resource, the laws of exponents. Start trying this, but do the examples from class first. Once you get this done, you can feel free to dive into your homework part, and then we'll go over some stuff together in like 15 minutes probably. Does that sound cool? You guys can just work for a little bit and try this stuff out? All right. Nobody said no, so